So, namaste everybody. I am Yashaswini Bharadwaj, and today we are doing this to as an introductory thing for the upcoming course of Ahara Kalpana. And today we discuss medicinal property of spices. So, of course, we all know what spices are, and we use them extensively in our food. Extensively could be relative term. Some people use just two varieties regularly, and that is extensive, and for some there will be 200, and that is not even extensive. So, but the fact is, spices add spice to our life and food. And we use this term spice as something that is interesting and catchy. So, why are spices important, or why do we use spices? Practically, we know that it is for the flavor, the aroma, the taste, as well as some for the color of it. But why are they so important? From Ayurvedic perspective, if we just try to look at it, I mean, it is common sense as well, and we call common sense as well as Ayurveda. So, see, the food that we take should feed both our mind and body. It should feed the mind as well, and the deeper senses that comes in the intellectual part or the emotional part of the mind. So when we link with the food, or when we connect with the food from the emotional perspective, or from the higher mental functions, the perspective of higher mental functions, then it is not just the taste that matters, it is how you remember the food with all your senses. So the food should feed all of the senses. So the food should appear in a well appealing manner. It should be attractive. So that is what it feeds to the visual sense. So the color, the consistency, the arrangement, and all of these things that we put to the appearance of the food is all because it feeds the sense of vision. And likewise, you have to feed the sense of olfactory sense as well, the sense of smell. And there the spices become very important because aroma is something that is indispensable with food. If you have blocked nose, half of the enjoyment of having a good food is gone. Why? Because we don't feel the aroma of it. So food is primarily feeding all of these aspects. And likewise for the taste as well, of course. And of course, it also would be feeding the sense of texture, the a sense of touch, tangibility, that is with the texture and so on. So basically, food feeds, what we eat feeds both our mind as well as the body. So spices becomes important. It is either with the volume or with the taste or with the aroma and the functions of all of the sense organs that the food goes to the mind. So when we say spice, even in other, even in the colloquial language, when we say spice, it is something to do with that hooks the mind, that keeps your interest in any particular either activity or object, or likewise for the food. So that which brings or builds interest or that attracts us to something, that is generally the role of spice. But is that all, or do we have much more application to it? That is what we will explore. So here we come to this concept of food and medicine. And a spice is something that bridges between, that is a bridge between the two. Now, what we classify as food is something that we can consume in a bulk, and it is pretty much the safest thing that we can use, or with, like, even if a bit of here and there with a quantity, you can go less or a little higher. It is not going to be very damaging. It is something that we indulge every day. That is food. And medicine is something that we take in a very limited quantity for a specific purpose, for a specific duration only, and is not supposed to be for everyday use. Now, it is unfortunate that in today's world, we have both the places interchanged. People are having less and less amount of food and more number of medicines. That is the unfortunate part. But this is what is the usual. Food is for indulgence as well as for serving the purpose of living. Medicine is for specific purpose, limited time use only. So the primary difference between the food and medicine lies in its potency. Food is what we call as rasa pradhana, or it has more of nourishing quality in it and less potent as a medicine, and that is why you can go with the bulk. So you can have much more bigger portion of food because it is not potent but is more nourishing. So this is the difference from Ayurvedic perspective, that food has more rasa and less virya, whereas medicines has more virya or potency and less of indulgence of rasa. Now, spices are very potent. They have a good amount of virya, or they carry good potency in them, and that is why we cannot use them in bulk like you would use grains, and the quantity has to be very precise and minimal. But we can use them in everyday food as well. So spices, you can say, are kind of medicines that are fit for everyday purpose, and they have a good amount of food value in the sense to enhance the food, enhance the absorption or digestion or things about what we consume as food, and also benefit the effect of ahara by pleasing the sense organs. At the same time, they are very potent and also serves the medicinal value. So now let us see why or how we look at spices from the Rasa Panchaka perspective. Now, the 5 types of, or the 5 that are considered while assessing a particular substance are called Rasa Panchaka. Now I'll type that. And they are specifically applicable for medicines, but we can also consider few of like 4 of these categories for the purpose of food, and they are Rasa, Guna, Virya, and Vipaka. Now, most of you might already know, but just for the benefit of the beginners, let me explain. Rasa is the taste, Guna are the properties, Virya is the potency, which is usually classified into warm or cold, or warming or cooling. Sometimes Virya can also be classified into 8 different categories, which are the primary gunas. So anyway, let us keep it into just 2, warming and cooling, Ushna and Shita. And Vipaka specifically is the conversion or the conversion of taste after digestion. So Vipaka is something that happens in the large intestine. So say for example, when you consume grains like rice or rice product, it is primarily sweetish in taste. And the natural taste of rice is sweet, not sugary sweet, but still towards sweet. And you say these are the properties of rice, as in it is cooling, or it is filling, it is anabolic, and so on. It adds calories and it builds the body, it has carbohydrates, and hence these. So those are the gunas. So sweet is the taste, rasa. Guna is that it is anabolic in nature. The virya is cooling again, that is one of the properties. And vipaka is what kind of transformation in the taste has happened during the process of digestion. So from the point of entry to the mouth to the end point, that is in the large intestine, all of the effects of digestion could have changed at a mixture that comes to that. So that is vipaka. Now, rasa is also guna, virya is also guna. Now, that way, with that kind of explanation, we'll go much deeper into the foundational principles of Ayurveda. Practically, we just keep it in Rasaguna Virya Vipaka division for the purpose of daily usage, ease of usage. Now, why is this important to look at? Because rasa is something, as we discussed earlier, it pleases the sense of taste. And that is the first perception, and that is the first effect of food on your brain. So the point of satisfaction in the brain, the point of perception in the brain, and the trigger for all of the rest of your digestive system to be prepared to receive food, as well as to behave in a certain way, because this is the kind of food that is coming. All those messages from the brain comes from rasa. So say, for example, if you can imagine something sour, like lemon in your mouth, so it produces so much of secretion suddenly. Think of bitter gourd, or think of something very bitter or astringent. Oh, it doesn't produce that many secretions. It inhibits secretions. Rather, your body gets prepared to receive something which is bitter, and it is more shrinking or more firming in nature. So with the spices, the main character is that it is tikshna. It is intense. So whatever it is intense. So with the rasas as well, the main rasa with most of the spices is katu. But it is not, katu is pungent. It is not just simply katu, it is intense. Or it could be even bitter or tikta. It could also have a little bit of admixture of astringent and sweet, but primarily it is katu and tikta, and intense katu and tikta. So you cannot eat a whole bowl full of spices because of the intensity, and that is the virya, and that is ushna. And the spices are also not just Tikshna, it is also Laghu, or they are Laghu, Ushna, Sukshma, and Tikshna. Sukshma is that it is very minute, and it has got a penetrative property that it can pass through many channels. It can cross the barriers in the body as well as in the mind. And that it is extremely light, it is volatile. It is the property is that it is light and minute and intense, and that is why it has got so much of potency. This combination, if you go back, it is the combination of Vayu and Agni among the Mahabhutas. So combination of Vayu, Mahabhuta, or the air principle, as well as the fire principle, that brings out these properties. And hence, we can say that the spices are primarily Vayu Agni combination, and that is why it makes it so intense. And there is oil in all of the spices. The primary character of spice is that it carries the oil, and this is the aromatic oil. This is the one that is stimulating the flavor, the aroma, as well as the color. Interestingly, these oils are not very much snigdha type of oil. They are more of airy type of oil. They are not watery type of oils. So in the sense, you don't have the well-oiled feeling when you apply these oils. Rather, these are the ones that can just simply evaporate. Now, that is the difference between the oil between oil of spice and oils that come from nuts or oil seeds, the seed oil. These oils again come with the principle of Vayu and Agni, and that is why they are volatile, and that pleases the sense of aroma. And so, because of these properties, they don't undergo a transformation even after digestion. They stay katu, they stay intense. So, from the point of entry to the body to the point of absorption and metabolism, spices do not lose their quality, or they do not get transformed into something else. They maintain as is, they maintain the intensity, and hence the properties that you take it with are the ones that you are going to get at the end point as well. It is the same, it doesn't undergo a transformation. So, we will discuss the effect of these spices on the body in the next one. So here it is. In the whole of the body, if we can just simply summarize, from the point of entry to its exit, spices would have these effects. Like from the point of entry, it stimulates the brain because it stimulates the olfactory pathways, and these olfactory pathways, through the aroma, it stimulates the limbic system, and hence it connects with the emotions, it connects with the memory, and also the cognitive functions. Interestingly, spices were used as a recovery, to recover a person from unconscious state as well, or to induce or to appeal to the sense of smell for medicinal purposes. And they also have an effect on the hormones and neurotransmitters. So say having releases so much of endorphins in the body, and dopamine as well. So, spices, there are studies that equate spicy food into this runner's high. So it secretes so much of endorphins that a person goes into a kind of bit of a high, not exactly the high kind of high that you get from other stimulants, but still it boosts the mood. And this mood boosting property of spices is also very important in treating or in handling minor cases of psychological cases, like even depression or anxiety or panic attacks and things like that. So spices do have a huge impact on the mood, emotions, memory, and also the cognitive functions, the higher mental functions overall. And it also has neuroprotective functions, and it can protect the brain and the nervous system from age-related decline. So age-related degeneration and also dysfunctioning that is especially related to disuse or decline of functions because of stress or age or mood swings. So spices do have neuroprotective functions as well, which can protect the brain as well as the whole of the nervous system. In the olfactory pathway, or in the nose and the upper respiratory system, of course, there is stimulating action, and it also helps in clearing the secretions, and it helps in the dilatation. So it can clear the congestion, as in case of sinusitis or any blockage or even local inflammation. Spices have anti-inflammatory effect, and it can clear the congestion. So using spices, especially when you have a respiratory, upper respiratory issues, can help a lot in local areas. In the mouth and oral cavity, it will improve the taste perception, and it will bring good palatability to the food, as well as it increases the secretion. It prepares the whole of the digestive system to receive food and to be ready for that digestive process. In the lower respiratory tract, that is including trachea, bronchus, and lungs, spices act as again for dilation as well as expectorant. So if there are congestion or collection in the lung, spices can help to throw it out, and you would have definitely experienced it by taking steam with oils of any of these spices. In the cardiovascular system, it acts as a stimulant for the heart. So it helps to improve the rhythm or the rate of the cardiac functioning. And spices can clear the clots. So it acts as blood thinners. It helps in removing the clots or deposits of atherosclerosis or arteriosclerosis. And spices improve circulation, and because of this there is vasodilatation as well. The blood vessels will open up. There is increase of body temperature and increase of sweating. It stimulates all parts of digestive system for secretion and better motility and better functioning. So it could be the stomach or liver or pancreas or intestines, wherever. It improves the digestion, it improves the secretions, it improves the absorption. It helps in finishing the process properly, not just pushing the food forward. It helps in digestion and absorption. In the kidneys and adrenals, again, there is increased circulation, and hence there is increased production or the output. With the adrenals, it regulates the secretion of cortisol and adrenaline. Spices, some of the spices also have very strong probiotic action, and also it is antimicrobial as well as antiparasitic. So putting all these terms in a straight line, we would have an effect where the spices would help to grow the useful microbes in the gut, and control the harmful microbes, control the growth of harmful microbes. It also controls the growth of parasites, or inhibits the growth of parasites in the intestine. So basically, spices helps us in maintaining the living world within our gut. And spices also have a very strong effect on the sexual organs. And that is that it has an improved adrenergic functioning. So it improves the overall functions of the reproductive system, including the secretory functions and including the circulatory functions. So either the performance or the production, both are improved with spices. So overall, there is improved functioning or improved or optimal functioning of the all of the functions of the body, improved metabolism as well. So the activity generally goes on very well. It acts as stimulant for most of the activities of the body as well as mind. And just to add to the list of the benefits, spices have very strong antioxidant effect. So it reduces the oxidative stress, and that, if you stretch the same equation further, it is going to be helpful for the DNA to reduce the unwanted mutations and also to reduce the aging effect on the DNA. So it can help you stay young. And it has got a very strong epigenetic effect, and it can help to turn on a gene or turn off a gene within the set of chromosomes that we have, and that can help or affect in have an influence on the maintenance of cellular balance in the body, or even the production or mitigation of cancer cells. And it can also inhibit the migration of cancer cells. And that is why spices are so extensively used in the cancer research. Of course, it has got a very strong anti-inflammatory as well as antimicrobial action. We have discussed. So let us come to the practical application of some of these groups of spices. Now, as we said, as we discussed earlier, they have got many utility, many usage in the body for specific purposes, like for respiratory usage or digestive functions and so on. So, say for digestive functions, here we have just classified few of the spices for those particular functions. Among digestives, specifically to reduce the bloating and to help the movement of substances in the gut and to improve the digestion. These are the spices that are there in this list. It is caraway, dill, fennel, celery seeds, cumin, mustard, carom. There could be many other as well. You can definitely add cloves, cinnamon, and so on in the same list. These are the primary ones. These set of spices can also be used as vermicides. So if anyone is having intestinal worms, it can be given. It is a very safe combination as a vermicide. And it can be used in adults as well as in young children. It can be used for a slightly prolonged period as well, either independently or along with other antihelminthics a person is taking. So yes, they do behave as good vermicides as well. They'll also have good anti-inflammatory effect, and for the anti-inflammatory effect, the best ones are turmeric, garlic, and dry ginger powder. There would also be black pepper, coriander is excellent, and so is fenugreek seeds. So these are all excellent as anti-inflammatory. Of course, they will also have other uses, but for anti-inflammatory purposes, these are the ones that could be the spice of choice. And for thinning of blood, for those who have high cholesterol or coagulatory problems, as blood thinners, you could also use garlic or ginger and onion as well in food regularly, or as adjuvant with the food, and that acts or that helps in keeping the blood thin and flowy. In case of fevers, either viral or for any fever of any kind of origin, mostly, you could safely use these spices either in the form of decoction or use it in food. That is turmeric, dry ginger, coriander, black pepper, and fenugreek. So most of those that can be used as anti-inflammatory are also antipyretic. And for respiratory system, of course, spices are excellent, even if it is a runny nose or sinusitis, headache, or cough with a lot of phlegm stuck in the phlegm or secretions in the lung. So we could use mint, fennel. They are very specific for throat infections and also for coughing. Oregano is good, thyme is good, ginger, either fresh or both fresh in case of thick phlegm, and dry ginger in case of runny nose or when the secretions are not too strong. Cinnamon is good. Lemongrass is excellent for clearing out the secretions, and there's black pepper. And as I said, spices also have aphrodisiac effect, and to improve the performance or to increase the functioning or secretion overall. These are the ones that can be specifically used. Nutmeg. A specific effect on male performance, that is to increase the time of performance, especially in case of premature ejaculation. Nutmeg is the drug of choice there, and it is to be used as medicine as well as food. Saffron is great. Cardamom, camphor, cinnamon, again poppy seeds, and dry ginger, they all are excellent for the sexual functioning. And then we also have some of these, like the flowers, dried flowers. They can be used as spice, but they're not actually very spicy spice. but they can be used for the same purpose of the spice, that is aromatic, not really adding much of a flavor usually, but aroma and color, and it adds to the appearance of food. But they also have profound medicinal effect, and that is why you can again put them into the same bridging category between food and medicine. So when you come to this class of flowers that are mainly used as in the form of tea or just as a aromatic agent, from the Ayurvedic point of view, we would not specifically go behind the Virya, Vipaka or Rasa. Rasa only to some extent, but mainly their functions comes through its aroma, and hence the classification is different. But they do have a very profound action on the same pathways as of the spices, and hence they will help in regulating the mood, emotions, and reduce the stress, and have an effect on hormones and neurotransmitters. So you can add many to this list, but primarily I would like to focus on rose and jasmine because they have a very profound effect on female reproductive functions. So having them in balance regularly will help to promote the functioning of the Artha chakra or the menstrual cycle of women, and used in perimenopausal mood swings, or even in the PMS, that is premenstrual syndrome. So throughout the life, and especially during the menopausal age, rose and jasmine are excellent. And likewise, you also have the effect of vanilla and chrysanthemum, calendula, lavender, rosemary. They're reducing the stress and anxiety, helps in better sleep, and has profound effect on higher mental functions. So in classical Ayurvedic formulations, we do use spices extensively in these forms, that is in the form of churna. So many of the churnas have multiple spices in it, in the list of ingredients. And in avaleha, or the paste form, as in case of chavanprash or so on, spices are the most important components that are added at the end of the preparation, so to preserve the volatile principles. And most of these avalehas are used either for the anabolic effect, or for the respiratory system, or for improving the sexual functioning or reproductive system activities, and to preserve the or for anti-aging properties, or to preserve the longevity. So those are the ones specifically used in avalehas. In the asava or arishta, that is the fermented preparations or herbal wines, you can say, spices are used. And again, here the purpose is to improve the probiotic effect of these, as well as to increase the intensity, or to just complement the intensity of both the spice as well as the formulation. In vatis, or the pills, tablet form, the ones that you would see are mainly for the purpose of anti-inflammatory, as well as to reduce the pain, and for a longer time usage as well. So with the pills and churnas, you enhance or you utilize the raw form of the spice, whereas in asava arishta you use the fermented extract or the alcoholic extract of the spice. In avaleha you capture the volatile principles of the spice. In fanta or hima, that is hot and cold infusions, again, we utilize or try to capture the volatile principles, but they are fresh preparations. So use it within 24 hours or 12 to 24 hours. Whereas in avaleha, you preserve it for a longer time. Oils and ghees also will have, that is medicated oil and ghee will also have a lot of these spices in them. And there you take the lipid soluble principles of the spices and utilize. So different formulations will utilize different properties and focus on delivering them to different purposes in the body.
Sorry, could you please explain what is the volatile principle of spices?
For the oils and ghee?
No, just when you talked about avalejos, I guess, you said that we preserve the volatile principles and in infusions also.
In infusions like Fanta and Hima, that is hot and cold infusions, we preserve the volatile principles, but that is in the fresh form. We cannot use it for more than 12 to 24 hours. Whereas in Avaleha, it is much more preserved for a longer duration. So with different preparations, we capture different kinds of properties of the same spice and deliver it to the body for. Now, coming to the usage of spices, there are certain nuances that could be kept in mind. So spices are always better when they are dry, but range in the sense they are not wet, but in the dry form, but they are not too old. They can maintain potency for quite a long time when they are preserved in airtight containers. However, fresher the lot, the better the effect. And for the purpose of food, usually uh, we need to warm spice in oil. So you have to fry the spice in oil, but not too much of oil or not deep fry. So it is just sauteed in an oil carrier. And that would be the best way to use spice so that you cut the edge of the spice so that it doesn't cause any irritation to the mucosa of the oral cavity or the gut. But at the same time, it will impart the zinc or the spiciness or the volatile principles in oil so that it is evenly distributed in the food. And hence, this is the practice of seasoning that you use spices in oil.
Okay, sorry, I didn't quite get the transition from frying in oil to avoiding the irritation.
Yes, so you use you warm the spice a bit in oil because you want to cut the edge to the spice. That is, it doesn't become too spicy. It doesn't give the irritant effect. So to reduce the irritant effect or to nullify the irritant effect, you use the lipid layer, that is the oil layer to it. So blending spice in oil is always the best way to use it in the food. And spices do have a carrier effect. So spices behave differently when the carrier changes. Say, just like with the oil you can expect the spice to be more friendly to the body. You can also use it with alcohol, like any of these fermented products, and it will make it more intense. If you use it with milk, it becomes more and more acceptable and more mild. So you can increase or decrease the intensity, make it more sharper or make it more milder depending upon the carrier that you use. So the carrier effect is very true for the spices. And spices are also probably the only category of food that can have or that can have medicinal effect without even entering to your body from mouth. So external usage is very true. It can be applied on the skin for medicinal purposes. It can be used like through the aromatherapy as well for medicinal purposes. And even pillow pouches. Say, for example, a small bag of black pepper is kept under the pillow or around the pillow to reduce the hypertension and to improve the sleep quality, or the lavender, rosemary pouches, sage, and so on. So, non-edible usage of spices for medicinal purposes is also very true. So that is about the world of spices for today. And we will discuss more about the usage of these and many more other preparations in the course of Ahara Kalpana. So I hope to see you all in that, and thank you. It's good for the questions. So here, actually, I'm not able to see the translation directly on page, so I'm using it on Google Translator. The first question, I think, is already answered in one of the slides. It probably came before the slide came up. So I'll go to the second one. This, I think it is to explain the difference between dry ginger and fresh ginger, right?
Yes, ginger powder and fresh ginger, yes.
Yes. So the dry ginger powder uh, is, I mean, it differs from the fresh ginger in Vipaka. So dry ginger is more, let's say dry ginger is less irritant to the body, doesn't cause gastritis, and has madhura vipaka, or the vipaka of dry ginger is sweet, whereas the vipaka of fresh ginger is katu, that is, it stays as pungent. So the effect is the dry ginger powder becomes more anti-inflammatory, and it is more useful in treating fevers, inflammations, allergies, and also is very soothing for the gut. At the same time, it also helps in digestion, but is more safer. Whereas fresh ginger juice is more intense and stronger. It has a breaking effect. So it will help to dissolve any blockage immediately, including the clots, or including it cuts through the blockage. But if at all the person is sensitive, or if the person is having a tendency towards acute inflammations, then it can also be a little irritant and cause or have an adverse effect on inflammation. So for the medicinal purpose, dry ginger powder is always a better choice.
Let's take next one.
Yes, the next one is about the intestinal worms. I think we have already, is that right?
The next question is what recommendation for daily use of spices can you give to a Vata Pitta Prakriti person?
Yes.
So will the Vata Pitta, will the spices with Vata Pitta origin have the same effect on dosha?
See, most of the spices are Vayu and Agni in combination. So it is practically saying they are all Vata Pitta. They will stimulate Vata, they will stimulate Pitta. So the thing with spices in Vata Pitta Prakriti is that you use in moderation, and you use the good carrier. So carrier for Vata dominant Prakriti is primarily oil. So always use oil. And if it is Pitta dominant Prakriti, use the spices, the ones that can be used along with milk, and let milk be the carrier, milk or ghee. So that way you can use spices. If the pitta is dominant, reduce the amount of spices, specifically the irritant ones. Others you can definitely use, and blending it with milk or ghee is more useful in pitta.
Okay, let's take next one.
So the next one is about the worms, I guess.
Yes, that's the next one.
8-year-old. So we've already listed the ones that could be used as vermicides. So that could be used, and for specifically for pinworm, because they have a certain tendency to come out of the body around to lay eggs around the inner orifice, and that is the life cycle. So Usually you use the oil of asafoetida. That is, you have to fry asafoetida in oil, preferably mustard oil, and apply this oil around the anal orifice of the child. Um, so this is specifically done around new moon and full moon because that is the life cycle. Usually pinworms, in larger quantities, they would be reproducing around full moon or new moon. So that is the time when you would apply around the anal orifice of the child to reduce the reproduction or to cut the or kill the eggs itself. Other than that, you could use the same combination that was discussed earlier. Use it in small quantity, like about 1/8 of a teaspoon in buttermilk. You could soak it in buttermilk and then give it. You could also use the same powder in make it into a bowl with jaggery and use it before food. When you are using spices for worms, you use it along with buttermilk to target the gut, so that is the colon, or entice the worms to feed on it by mixing with jaggery. That is the form that you give. You would give in the same manner. But 80 tablets of chemical 8-year-old.
Just to repeat a little bit, 1/8 of a teaspoon in buttermilk before food, you said? It's for
yes, this is continued usage. If it
okay.
is, yes, please.
And this is for the spices that were categorized as wormicides?
Yes.
So not some specific spice, just this category broadly?
Yes, whichever is available. And make sure if you're using asafoetida, it should be fried in ghee. Asafoetida raw is not used. Asafoetida is always fried in ghee before using as medicine.
Okay, so could you please repeat this part again?
Asafoetida, while using for medicine, also for food, but specifically for medicine, you always fry asafoetida in ghee and then use it.
So it should be fried.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, just a little question. So what was about the application around the anal orifice of asafoetida?
Asafoetida oil. So fry asafoetida in oil. Now this is raw asafoetida. You don't have to fry it in ghee before frying it in oil. So fry asafoetida in oil and use this oil to apply around the anal orifice. During
Sorry, it was 1/8 of a teaspoon just soaked in buttermilk, or how it should be soaked in buttermilk?
Yes, so it is soaked in the buttermilk and then either grind it and drink it along with buttermilk or chew it along with the same buttermilk. Now, because it is an 8-year-old, it is very hard to ask the child to chew those seeds in buttermilk. So it might be better to grind it and mix it with a bit of salt and make it a drink and then ask the child to drink.
Okay, and there was also about the mixture with jaggery. What powder should be mixed with jaggery?
The same spice mix. Okay, either it is given along with buttermilk or you can mix it with jaggery, a bit of jaggery. Mix this spice powder in it, make it into a small ball of this size. That is, again, you would take about 1/8 a spoon of these mix and equal amount of jaggery, whatever size it comes to in a dose. So you have to give this before the food twice a day, morning and night.
I guess we
Yeah,
finished with this one.
Yes,
Okay,
I've
this
answered
one
a few on text, and the next one here, I was just reading this one. In Tibetan medicine, saffron is considered a conductor to the liver, cardamom to kidneys, nutmeg to heart, and brown cardamom for the spleen. Now, in Ayurveda, we have a different language. We would say saffron will help in pitta, and specifically for the skin, and also for the pitta in the gut. So you can say that also includes liver. Cardamom is for aphrodisiac functioning and also for the urinary functioning. Yes, and it is also for the skin. Nutmeg is for the circulatory function. It is an inhibitor for circulation to some extent. It induces sleep, and it is very specifically used for male sexual performance. And yeah, well, these are the three that are listed here. So that's the explanation from Ayurvedic point of view.
Okay, so nutmeg you said was used for sleep, for male sexual performance, and for the third one was circulation, right?
Yes, as for the circulation, or in the case of heart rate, to reduce the heart rate in case of palpitations. So it is a relaxant, reduce palpitation, and it is also used in case of diarrhea to reduce the secretion. So it has got a bit of inhibitory effect. So wherever you want things to slow down a little bit, there you use nutmeg.
Okay, let's take next one, if there is any.
I think there are quite a few still. This one, the one that is very long. Can you please help me with this one?
Okay. So in Russia, the use of spices is more moderate if you compare it with India. So we have like black pepper, mustard, something like that. Some people can do without spices altogether. So from the perspective of Ayurveda, where in our northern climate, what is the more preferable form to consume food in a natural form or with spices added, given the normal digestion in a person? Is it actually possible to do without spices altogether while preparing food and using spices only as medicines?
Yes, from the point of view of Agni and Desha, that is the digestive capacity as well as the climatic condition of the region, colder climate or colder countries do not have as much necessity to use spices as much as the tropical countries would do, because the temperature and the weather condition itself will help the Agni so much that you can do without the spices for the digestive purposes. But as I said, spices do not just favor in the digestive functions only. They also feed your nervous system, and there is so much of action all throughout the body. So you may use spices to feed the overall organism, in the sense in the body and mind both. However, it would always be good if you can use it along with a grounding substance, either as a whole spice in oils, or use it in moderation, not as much as they use in tropical countries, because the weather, the climatic condition itself is more Akasha, Vayu, and Agni dominant in northern or any of these countries which are closer to pole, colder countries. So the weather is, the climatic condition is much more dry than the equatorial region, and hence you don't need too much stimulation on Vayu. But having aroma will help as long as it is balanced with oil. So you need a carrier oil other than the essential oil. So essential oil of the spice or the whole spice used along with other oils which are more grounding. So use olive oil rather than the rapeseed oil or canola oil. So olive oil is much more cooling than the mustard oil or canola oil. So when you use mustard in olive oil versus mustard in mustard oil, there is a difference. Mustard in mustard oil is more intense, whereas mustard in olive oil is much more grounding. So this way you can modify the effect. Can you use or can you have food without spices? Yes, absolutely. If you are for the food value, that is good enough. For the overall effect, it will always be good to have a few spices, not a few varieties, and few lesser quantity as well. But they're useful.
Okay, thank you. Let's take next one.
Most of it, I think I've already answered.
Okay. No, next one.
Yes. And there's one last comment, question comment on the chat. So can you help me with that?
Yes.
So is this about milk protein?
Yes.
So milk protein before food or this I'm not able to understand the purpose of this question because milk protein, for what purpose is the person using milk protein? Um, we will need to understand the purpose of drinking milk protein immediately after lunch or separate meal. It will depend on the purpose. Why are you drinking milk protein, and why you're choosing to drink milk protein and not milk? So, there are many questions, sub questions along with this question. So, unless we know the whole detail, it will be difficult for me to answer as it's.
Okay. Okay, could you please bring back the slide with spices and their various usages for so that people could see maybe or take a photo or something like that?
Yes, okay.
Okay, there is another question. What amount of mustard powder can be used daily, can be consumed daily?
This will be dependent upon the person. Say the age of the person, the sensitivity or the prakriti of the person. Uh, for a pitta person, I would definitely recommend less amount of mustard. One can tolerate a bit of a higher amount of mustard. There's no standard. It depends upon you. A pinch would be something that you can consider as a suitable amount for the person. The pinch of that particular person. Tomatoes and cucumbers are eaten together in Russia. Can spices improve their digestibility? Yes, definitely. Yes. Spices can improve digestibility of anything. So, yeah. For salads, if you're using tomatoes and cucumber and cheese on top, along with it, do use spices as seasoning on top or to make the base. So they definitely taste better and also improve its availability as well as usage. So yes. All right then. So I think we have more details of all of the spices as well in our Ahara Kalpana course. So the first part of Ahara Kalpana, we discuss all of the single ingredients, like everything, all of the grains, all of the spices, all varieties of oils, salts, and so on and so forth. So every single ingredient is discussed. Mostly, we have tried to cover a lot. It is a very comprehensive course, so I invite you for that. In the second part, we discuss the recipes and also the process of food making, how cooking or steaming or boiling or baking will change the properties. So it is a very extensive and fascinating course. I invite you all for that. So we'll catch up again. when we have further continued discussions on Ahara Kalpana course.
Maybe there's some kind of on-site event that you would like to talk about.
Yes, and yeah, I'd be visiting Russia. I'd be visiting Novosibirsk in the month of November, and at that time we'd be bringing the women's health course with us, and it will be a 1 week intensive course where we get to talk a lot. Apart from how we do it online, it will be more personal. So. And I think it's always better when we connect directly. So that course is also something we can look forward to, and we can have other discussions as well. There's more time for personal discussion also there. So yeah, I'd like to invite you all for that as well. As in November, and this November 14th 15th onwards. It will be 10 days of program overall, where we have the course for 1 week.
Okay, thank you very much for today's lecture.
Thank you, Alex, for all of the help and prompt. Thank you.